Hey YouTube, it's Marita and welcome to another edition of The Nurse Lounge. On this edition, we're going to talk about 15 tips in which you can make good grades in nursing school. That's right, 15 tips. So take some notes because you really want to know how you can be successful in nursing school. You may see me look down from time to time because I did take some notes myself, and I want to make sure I provide you with accurate and correct information, or that is the same thing. So anyway, let's jump right in. Number one, sit in the front of the class. So think about this. When you walk into a classroom and you see your classmates, and those who sit towards the back, typically, not always, are oftentimes more talkative. They are on their phones, maybe texting, or they're looking at social media. They are sleeping even. But in the front, you see less of that. So therefore, it's not as much of a distraction, if you will. So if you sit in the front of the class, you're more than likely to pay more attention, stay focused, and again, not be distracted by those around you as much. Plus, think about this, you paid a lot of money to go to nursing school, so therefore you want to minimize the distractions and stay focused on what the instructor is saying. Number two, read your book ahead of time. So do not wait till class day to decide you're going to crack your book open. If the instructor tells you in the syllabus to read chapters 1 through 3 prior to class, then go ahead and read chapters 1 through 3 prior to class and take a few notes as you go. When you get to class, you'll have a better understanding of what was being represented in the chapter when the instructor provides you with supplemental information that kind of ties into what the chapter is talking about for that lesson. Number three, take good notes. So in addition to taking notes while you're at home reading your chapters, take good notes, or if your program allows you to record the lecture so that you can take notes later. And that way, again, it provides you with that additional information that you need to kind of help bridge that gap between what the textbook is saying and what your instructor is saying. Number four, sleep. Sleep is of paramount importance. We are required, or we should be getting about, 8 to 9 hours of sleep a night? But let's be realistic. Most nursing students, or even adults for that matter, are not getting 8 to 9 hours of sleep at night. But what you can do is be consistent. So make sure you at least try to get, say, 6 to 7 hours of sleep per night. This will help make sure that you have a fresh brain, you're well rested, so that you'll be prepared for the next day's events, whether that be clinical, which you need to be prepared for, or just for another day of lecture in general, so that you'll have a better understanding with a fresh brain and you won't be those ones sitting in the back of the class asleep. Number five, set yourself a schedule. So get you a planner, and in that planner, put down when your assignments are due, put down when your group projects are due, and when your tests and quizzes are. That will help you be better prepared and have a better schedule and stick to it so that you'll know what's coming up and what's due and when to do things. So you're not kind of always procrastinating and getting behind on things. You want the best grade possible. So if you set yourself a schedule to say, I'm going to start studying for this test a week or two before the actual test, not the night before, then you will be more than likely more successful on that test. Number six is time management. Make sure you manage your time appropriately. So the best example for this is if you have an assignment that is worth 40% of your overall grade and another assignment that's worth 10% of your overall grade, manage your time wisely. You need to be spending more time and effort in, well, not necessarily effort, but more time into that 40% and not be stewing over that 10%. That 10%, depending on where you are in terms of grade-wise, may or may not make or break you. That 40% definitely will. So definitely manage your time appropriately where you're spending time doing what needs to be done at the right time. With that being said, if you have care plans that are due tomorrow and you have a test that is due, not due, but that's next Friday, for example, your care plans need to come first. That's called prioritization. So prioritization and time management kind of go hand in hand. Those are things that you need to go ahead and be mindful of and be conscious of and do those on a daily basis. Number 7, dedication. You need to be dedicated to nursing school. You need to be committed. This needs to be what you really want to do because it is a process. Nursing school is such a process. It takes 2 to 3 to 1, however many years, depending on what your program is, to commit to doing it, and it's going to change your whole world. Your job when you finish school will be to prevent people from getting worse than what they already are. Help people heal. And in order to do so, you have to be committed to them. So therefore, you have to be committed to this program. So be dedicated and committed. Number 8, give 100% effort in all you do. So even though we were talking earlier about that 40% assignment that would be a priority and needs more time management than say that 10%, you need to give 100% effort in both of those assignments. Reason being is because you still need to make good grades in everything that you do. When it comes to clinicals, give 100% even there. There's been times where I've had students who say, oh, I'm not really interested in OB, so they don't give as much effort as they would in something they were into. I always tell students, it doesn't make a difference what you want to do when you finish school. The whole point of the nursing program is for you to have an understanding and a basis and a foundation for everything that nursing pretty much entails, every specialty or discipline area within nursing. It's not whether you like an area or not. And even so, in OB, you will see these patients everywhere. So therefore, if you want to be an ER nurse, guess where they come through first? The ER. If you want to be an ICU nurse, guess what? Our patients go to the ICU when they're very sick and they cannot be managed on our floor. Home health. Sometimes our patients' wounds opened up and you have to go see them at the home. Sometimes in med surg, our patients are so sick that they require, say, telemetry. And so they can't stay on our floor because we don't have a telemetry monitoring system on our floor. So you're going to see these patients everywhere, even in psych, definitely psych. We have a lot of moms who have postpartum depression or psychosis or things like that. So you're going to see these people in different areas of nursing. So therefore, you need to put 100% effort in all your clinical rotations. And again, everything that you do in nursing. Number 9, establish some office hours. So no, it's not quite like the same as your instructors who have office hours in terms of I will see students between this hour and this hour. I have class this hour to this hour. But the principle is the same. They have allotted time for certain activities, for certain meetings, and you need to do the same. So you need to allot your time where you are dedicated or committed to going to class at this point in time. You're going to have lunch at this point in time. You're going to study at this point in time. So have you some office hours as well. So when you cut off your time, you can then say, okay, you know what? I'm done studying for today. I'm done reading for today. I'm done with my study group for today. I'm going to move on to something else to kind of clear my head. Number 10, eating. That's something we all love to do. However, make sure you're eating some good food. We like to eat junk, and a lot of times nursing students are very poor, so we tend to eat bad anyway. Ramen noodles are a staple for a nursing student, and it's very difficult to eat fresh fruit and vegetables every single day. But make sure that you are eating good food as best you can. Also, make sure you're eating breakfast. Believe it or not, breakfast is an important meal for you that you need to be eating. Eat before clinical if you can. Now, me personally, sometimes getting up at 4:30 in the morning and then having to be in clinical at 6:30 in the morning, I don't really have an appetite that early in the morning, and it actually kind of makes me nauseous. So sometimes that's where your little Nutri-Grain bars or some kind of snack like that would help tide you over until you can eat a little bit later. But make sure you eat and try to eat as best you can. Number 11, balance is key. So that means balancing your life. You have to consider the fact that school takes up so much of your life that you need to figure out an outlet for you. So an outlet could be reading. It could be going to the movies. It could be going to a concert with friends. It could be just hanging out at a friend's house. But you need to have balance in your life where you will say, okay, you know what? Again, I'm gonna commit this much time to schoolwork. I'm gonna commit this much time to my personal life. And unfortunately, some people have to work while they're in nursing school. So some people have to work. So you have to have that work-life school balance in that situation. So balance is key. If you do too much of any one thing, nursing school will be affected. So if you're working too much, it will affect your grades. If you are playing too much, you're having too much fun, it will affect your grades. If you are focusing so much on nursing school that you don't have an outlet, you will still suffer in nursing school because you needed an outlet. We all have to take a break at some point in time, a mental break. All right, number 12, review nightly. So every night, if you would read, take notes, and then after lecture, come back and kind of study over those notes, the more that you read and write, the more you commit to memory. So if it sticks because you read it, you wrote it, you heard it when you went to class, it kind of taps into all those different learning styles. So therefore, if you learn to just review your notes nightly, you won't have to have a cram study session the night before the test. So always reread your notes and commit it to memory, and also read it for an understanding, not for regurgitation of facts. Anyone can regurgitate facts. Have a true understanding of the concepts that are being taught. Number 13, form study groups with like-minded people who study and think the same way that you do. Study groups truly saved me when I was in nursing school. We would have study groups about every week where we would get together and at someone's house, or maybe at a Starbucks or somewhere like that, where we would sit and we would kind of talk about what we were not understanding, so that everybody or some of the other peers could say, hey, I understand that. Let me explain it to you. And then they would provide us a better understanding of what the material was. So form some study groups. Number 14, study in chunks. What does that mean? So study in chunks is basically where we're going to say, let's focus on this material today. Then tomorrow or whenever, we're going to focus on this material. And then the next day, this material. Sometimes you will find a lot of your classes will run together and you don't know if you're going or coming, if one instructor said what and who said this. It gets confusing in your mind and you end up not being able to sort things out. So study in chunks. Learn this, be done with it for that moment, and then move on to something else if you can. Don't dump the material though. We tend to learn it, and then once we learn it for the test, we dump it. Don't do that. You have to learn it and understand it for real life. You're not studying for a test. You're studying to save lives. Remember that. Last but not least is number 15, and that is lecture prep. Lecture prep basically means prepare yourself for lecture. That ties into reading ahead, your time management. It means also having your paper and pencil at hand and ready to take notes. It means arriving to class on time, being in your seat when you're supposed to be. It also means asking questions when you're not understanding concepts and disease processes. Your instructors are being paid to teach you. Make sure you're being taught. So, again, these were the 15 tips that I have for you to be successful and make good grades in nursing school. I really hope that you have found this video to be a benefit to you. And if you have any comments or questions or concerns, please leave them below. And also, if you are new to this channel, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you are already subscribed or just been watching but not subscribed, thank you again for coming back. But please hit that subscription button, as well as hit that notification bell so you'll know when I upload another video. Until the next time, you take care. Bye-bye.